he has good technique, he will be elite. If his technique becomes great, not just good, then he's a Hall of Famer.
Going down again. Left Q. Red Williams.
Fighting through contact, fighting through offensive line, being double team, multiple moves stacked into one, just a play of pure domination. This is actual film, this is actual football talk. It's a football show, we're supposed to talk football, not storylines.
And you are listening to the 52nd edition of Blewett's Blitz. Appreciate Michael Nania for throwing up that the new intro. Hopefully next year there will be even some more new exciting players, whether that be the Toonies or the Jujus or the Allen Robinsons or the Judons, and hopefully one golden-haired quarterback will be on the Jets, plus some other high draft picks. That will be pretty exciting. So really, really excited for the offseason. Like I said, 52nd edition. Just doing the math. The 55th edition is the edition, and we will know where the Jets stand in that 55th edition. That first Monday, that January 4th, I believe, will be the Monday, Black Monday, right after the Jets' last game, where myself and Kyle Smith will be hosting a live stream. So I'm sure there'll be a ton to talk about on that episode. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely wild and really, really fun. And we're only about 2.5 weeks away. So I'm super, super pumped. 3 games left. I'm going to say out of the 18 hours I'm up a day, don't do the math and try to figure out get 8 hours of sleep a day, because that's just not true. I would say that the Jets and where they're picking in their schedule and the Jaguar schedule takes up at least an hour and a half of my brain space every single day. Looking up the schedule multiple times, looking at it, looking at matchups. Like, I'm just super excited to get this thing over with, and hoping the Jaguars can pull one out of their ass this weekend against the Ravens, which I highly doubt. But then next week they have the who the hell am I? Oh, the Bears next week, and then the week after that they have the Colts. So you're hoping, one of these games, okay, they beat the Colts of week 1 of the year. The Bears are highly volatile, so maybe they could beat the Bears, and the Ravens throw up a stinker every once in a while. So you never know. The Jets playing the Rams this week. The Rams having one of the best defenses in the NFL, one of the best running games in the NFL. Now Fado Cassi's probably going to be out for this game. I'm not very scared with this game, especially considering coaching. The Browns, you saw them compete with the Ravens. Hopefully they're still competing for something. Week 16, I think they will be. Playoff seeding. Hopefully they care. And then week 17, obviously, have the Patriots, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully, the Jets are smart, and Douglas benches some guys and lets the young guys play, and hopefully the Patriots aren't playing Stidham. Darnold has a lot of problems against the Patriots, so I'm pretty faithful if Darnold's in there. But if he gets injured and Flacco's in there, it was a little bit too close for comfort last time with Flacco. So we'll see. 44 plays this review. We're not going to be super, super long, just because the Jets getting blown out 40-3. Who wants to watch 3 hours about that? I know some people might, but I only had 44 plays instead of the usual 60, 65. So we'll cut it a little bit short, just because we're all so done. We want to get to the end of the season so freaking bad. We got one review, 1 5-star rating and review. This one from Des the Lunatic said he feels like this podcast is a foundation for all of the in-depth smart stuff going on at Jets X Factor. And then mentions, Nani and Sabo and Sam, and praises Jets X Factor. So we appreciate that. We're trying to do a little bit more than the typical WFAN talking points, talking about the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again for 25 weeks in a row. We try to provide you with analytics and film and stuff like that. But getting into the studs and duds of this week, obviously, again, we start off with the duds when they lose. We absolutely need to be starting off with the duds last 3 weeks of the season. And I get people who want the Jets to win, week 17, beat the Patriots, avoid the scar of the 0-16 record, which has only happened, 2 other times in history. I know there was 2 other 0-14 teams, so we'd be I believe the 5th team to be have a winless season. but only the third to be 0-16 with the Browns and the Lions. Listen, I don't really care that much. It's already embarrassing to be a Jets fan. If anything, I want the Johnsons to be embarrassed and be like, yeah, you know what we're doing is not really working right now. So I'm completely fine with going 0-16. I don't care. Obviously I care about the Jets, but what's more embarrassing? Like people can say, 0-16 versus 1-15. Like congratulations, you went 1-15. Who cares? It's one more game. I know a lot of people want to win a game, but I'm not going to be rooting for the Jets to win a game until the Jaguars win a game. If the Jaguars win this week, sure, I'll root week 17, but I'm not rooting week 16 because then with my luck, the Jets will win the last 2 weeks of the season. And people, get at me, why are you scared? The Jets are so bad. And again, scared, would I bet my money on the Jets winning any one of these games? No, I wouldn't. But I was also pissing my pants, the Raiders game. I was also pissing my pants the Patriots game when they almost won that game where they blew it. They could have easily ran out that clock in the Patriots game too. They didn't because they're a really poorly coached team, but all you need is a fumble, an interception, or a drop pass to go your way, and you could have won either one of those games. So to be absolutely not nervous, you either have nerves of steel or you just haven't been watching because it's football. Teams can win. Now, teams like the Rams, no, I really doubt it. Teams like the Browns, if they're actually playing for something, I doubt it. They're just a much more talented team than the Jets. The Patriots, if they had Jarrett Stidham week 17, it's an interesting conversation. A lot of people talk about that. And I'm sorry for this to be my open monologue every week. I literally don't plan anything. I just kind of just talk. But with the Patriots, with Bill Belichick more specifically, does he? It's the argument of does he, with him coaching for only a couple more, presumably only a couple more years, does he care about Trevor Lawrence? Does he want to give the Jets to win to not give the Jets Trevor Lawrence, or does he want to finish the Jets off 0-16 season? I lean a little bit more towards he wants to finish the Jets off and have them be in the record books forever as a winless team and not having their only win be in Foxborough week 17. I lean more that way, but there is an argument for the other side as well. So it's an interesting discussion. But to get into the duds of the game, this is actually a large chunk of the show. Well, not a large chunk. Oh, actually a pretty big chunk, I guess. The one thing actually I want to do before that, I've been thinking about this a little bit. I've been putting up the Twitter threads. You can follow me on Twitter at JoeRB31. The last couple of days I've been doing a lot of Becton Fant, Connor McGovern. At the end of the season, because obviously we have about a month before free agency, or actually really like 2 months before free agency, I'm going to do a lot of draft prep. I'm going to do a lot. Like, listen, I finished at 1. Like I said, you're probably going to have 120 to 125 play review of Lawrence. You're going to have probably close to 10 hours of YouTube video of Lawrence. Well, actually, especially for the subscribers. The other people who don't subscribe might get half of that, but that's still 5 hours of Lawrence stuff. But I'll be preparing for that. But in the meantime, I'm going to be putting up threads. I'm going to continue the threads I have. The threads I do have, and let me know if you're interested in certain ones. I know there's certain players that people want to see, specifically players who are going to be here most likely for the long haul. So, Becton, Fant, McGovern. I have a good Darnold thread, a bad Darnold thread. I have Crowder, Berrios, Herndon, Perryman, Fadokasi, a lot more Williams plays I put up. I know people are interested in Quinnen Williams, Mims, Jonathan Finkel-Myers, Bryce Hall. None of those are really questions. I only got a couple plays of Huff, a couple of May, Davis. If there's any of those that you're like thinking like, I don't really care about any, those guys, then let me know. But the guys like the P. Ryans and the Bashams and the Huff are each like 2 to 5 plays. The Quinnen Williams, the Mims, the Halls that I'm looking at, even Fadokasi are anywhere from 10 to 30 more that I have to put up, and that's without the next 3 weeks of the season. So I'm going to continue those reviews. The guys like Darnold, like I might, if the Jets finish the number 1 overall, if they finish the number 1 overall pick, am I really going to continue a bad Darnold thread or a good Darnold thread? At that point, are Jets fans completely done with Darnold? They don't really care anymore? Most likely. So that might just be something I don't even do, to be completely honest. But moving on to the duds, I did want to mention that just for the people who, if you are interested in certain guy, I want to see Darnold, let me know. Maybe I'll do it. But Darnold is my number 3 dud of the game. A lot of his plays were I would say not too negative this game. He did have a decent game, but his mistakes outweigh the positives. Even if there was only two mistakes to 10 decent plays, the mistakes were really, really, really bad. And again, I don't know if I said on this podcast, if I did it when I did like the weekly X's and O quick hits with Scott Mason, if there was a scale one of those like weighing scales. And the one side where you put stones for keeping Darnold, and the one was bad. And each game you had to decide on the stone to put in the good or bad. And the good having to be really good because again, for you to skip on a prospect like Lawrence, you'd have to have a lot of very good games, in my opinion. You need to prove to me that you're going to be a top 10 quarterback, top 15 at minimum. And Darnold, all of his stats, everything, he's one of the bottom quarterbacks in the league, which is obviously not what we were expecting, but you need to have, you need to decide on those stones. And I don't think there's been one stone on the side of keep Darnold this year. I don't think any one of his games have been anything above average, and average is not good enough to put it on that good Darnold thread, keep Darnold thread, because average is not good enough to skip on Lawrence. It's just not. So this is another one of those games. The mistakes were brutal. Have about 10 plays of him. 14 of 26, 132 yards. Let's get into some of the Darnold film. Again, some of these shows I did in the past, I had, 30 plays of Darnold, maybe a little bit less, 25. But at this point, it's looking pretty bleak. Now, what do the Jets get for him? There's been arguments all over the place. You have to consider the age. You have to consider what he showed on tape. Some people at first said a late first. I don't think that's happening anymore. Some people are now saying a second and a third or a second and a fourth. Some people are saying you'll get a third round at best for him. So let's just assume they get a second or a third. Listen, let's just say you get a second round pick for Darnold, which I think they can get just a second round pick at least. We'll see. Maybe it's a third, but let's just say a second for now, being a little bit more optimistic. You have $100 million in cap space. You have about $100 million. I know it's a little bit less right now, but once you get rid of guys like Henry Anderson, et cetera, that will lessen, or Graydon, Alex Lewis, et cetera, Ryan Griffin, whoever they're getting rid of, ton of guys. You have $100 million in cap space-ish. You have the number one overall pick. So let's just say you have Lawrence. You have another first-round pick. You have 2 second-round picks. You have 2 third-round picks. I think you have 2 fifth-round picks, a 6th. I don't know if they have a 7th. They trade all their 7ths away, I believe. But ton of picks, ton of cap room. They're going to attract, I believe, what would be an attractive head coaching candidate. Hopefully the Johnsons don't screw that up. Hopefully they let their GM that they begged to come to the Jets actually handle that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The Jets are in a good spot going forward. I have a lot of optimism where they're going. They're not going to be this bad next year. I do feel like with a quarterback prospect like Lawrence, with a top head coaching candidate, they can make a Dolphins turnaround where they were the worst team or one of the worst teams in the NFL last year, and now they're competing for a playoff spot. I think the Jets could be around 500 next year. Considering all the cap space and considering all the draft picks, considering a new coach. Like I said, if you just take a solid coach, let's just say, I think Flores is even better than solid. But you take a Flores on the Jets team this year, they probably have 2-3 wins right now. I think you win the Patriots game. You definitely win the Raiders game. And then maybe the Broncos game you win, so 2-3 wins right there. And that's just by a head coach. Now you add $100 million in cap space, a good quarterback. And I know he's going to have lumps in his rookie year, whether that be Fields or Lawrence. Hopefully it's Lawrence. And you add a Judon and an Allen Robinson. And again, the huge benefit this year's free agency is, again, you're going to have more players in the pool because not a lot of people can re-sign their guys, and or you have to cut guys because of the salary drop, and you're going to have less suitors. So the Jets are going to be a lot more of an attractive place because there's going to be some teams who are out of the running, and some of the teams in the running are just not going to have the space that the Jets have. So the Jets can pay that extra $2 million a year for some guys, depending, obviously, identifying if it's the correct guy to pay that $2 million, that $2 extra million a year. The guys like the Judons out there, maybe not those type of guys. I think he might be a little bit overhyped just because of the team he's on. The Judons, the Bud Duprees, I'm a little bit more wary on them. We'll see after their film if they do sign with the Jets. But the guys, the Allen Robinsons, the Toonies, the Galladays, the Brandon Sheriffs out there off the top of my head, those are the guys I'm willing to spend a little bit extra on because, they play premium positions. And wide receiver, I don't consider premium position, but for a new quarterback, for a team with a young quarterback, it is a premium position. So it's depending on our situation. So watching this play, again, the Jets got screwed with a couple of PIs in this game. In my opinion, you have the middle of the field open look right here at the cover 2. He has this bender route where he's either going to go into the seam or just run up the seam or attack the mid seam on like a skinny post, depending on if it's middle of the field open, middle of the field closed. Plenty of routes like that, or there are plenty of routes in the NFL like that where you read the defense. So it's most likely that it could just be a skinny post, but I'm going to say it's mostly, most of these routes have options and tags to him and things like that. So he attacks the middle of the field open. Darnold gets rid of the ball at a good time. Perfectly good time. Again, anticipating the window, which it's there. And puts it in a good spot. Now, maybe he could have released it a quarter of a second earlier, but I'm not going to get on him for that. That's good timing. He's reading the left, saw the right. Like, you could see how quickly his eyes went left, right, saw it, hitch, throw. Like, that's completely fine. That's a good throw. And this is one of those situations where the Jets get, they got screwed. A lot of the calls this year, like, listen, the whole Austin Seferian-Jenkins things a couple of years ago, I agreed that it wasn't a touchdown. I don't know if that was the one to the front. I don't think that was the one to the front left pylon, but the one, I think it was against the Patriots. That was the game with the two, right? The one to the front left pylon, I thought was a touchdown. The one to the back right pylon, you could see the ball moving in his arm. So I never agreed with that people say, oh, it's a terrible call. That's wearing the green colored glasses. I get why they called that. So I will call out whatever I see. Overall, good job by the whole offensive line. You have Fan who locks up his guy, double unders. You have Becton who's locking up his guy. Pretty clean pocket for Sam Darnold, obviously. Delivers the ball, and again, right to Berrios. And if you're telling me that you don't think this guy is there early, and again, I think we have a better view of this time. If this isn't there early, then I don't know what is. I've seen ones that are a little bit later than that or a little bit earlier than that, but he's clearly, how is he going to catch this ball when his arm is getting jerked back? There's absolutely no way. So the ref is standing right here, literally watching it, and he doesn't throw a flag. Dude. So good throw by Darnold, good route by Berrios. The Jets are the Jets. They're not going to get calls. It just is what it is. Once the Jets are competing, I firmly do believe this, that the teams who are competing, the players who are the superstars of the NFL, they get the benefit of the doubt. It's pretty obvious, in my opinion. So once the Jets are competing in a couple of years, or maybe even next year, I think they'll get a little bit more calls. I think the refs have biases towards better players, better teams. I really do. Darnold throw to Scott, over route right here. Zone coverage, cover three. These three guys get sucked up. Do they actually sell the play action? Yeah, good job by Darnold selling the play action. He usually doesn't. That's a little bit different of a play action than you typically see of him, like taking a snap from under center and like a single back look, gun set. It's a little bit easier to fake it, but fakes it. Linebackers get sucked up. You have I believe his name is Jaleel Scott running the over route right here. Darnold sees it, fades away from pressure. You can see him fade away right here. Throw it, deliver it right to him, hit it right in the hands. Good throw by Darnold. Good read. I believe he was reading left first. Yeah, left first. Doesn't see anything he likes. Eyes flash back, sees him. Natural ability takes over, fades back, hits him. Good spiral, right in the face. Good play. Darnold has these good plays. That's a good play. The blocking, it's all pretty generic. It's a lot easier to block on play action for the most part. Moving on. 13. I turn the brightness on my screen. Okay. Darnold, terrible throw. Okay. So now we have a very typical coverage of NFL teams, especially the Seahawks, whether it be like cover one robber, cover three lurk. They like they like showing cover two high, or too high, or 6 or 4, and then dropping one of the safeties down into a lurk robber position where they're just looking at anything crossing their face and they're going to jump it. That's literally what Adams is looking for right here. You have Darnold who stares down the right side the entire time. I believe he looks in the middle, but you're going to see his eyes not look at Adams. It's kind of funny how he doesn't see Adams. He wants to throw the dig route to Berrios, and again, never sees Adams, never checks Adams, hits Adams right in the chest, and he drops it, which is hilarious because, he wanted that really, really bad. So that was nice to see. Even though they blew us out, it was definitely nice to see him drop a pick. So reads right the entire time, checks this safety. He never sees Jamal Adams. So he checks that safety, sees he's dropping back in cover one. So he thinks he has enough room, but you have to read the whole field. You can't just read one safety. If there's two safeties high, read what the other one's doing as well. Doesn't do it. And again, reads right. Reading this safety, you can tell he's not looking at Adams. Goes back to his route. Barrios throws it right into the breadbasket. That is elementary reading of defenses in the NFL level. It just is. Again, he knew it was coming, saw the route, saw Darnold loading up, and dropped the easiest interception he'll ever have, or that he won't have. Again, pretty good job of the offensive. This is a clean pocket. Listen, there are times, and I will show them even in this game, where he has no chance, but he has these clean pockets plenty more than he had in his rookie year and his second year. People just don't know what they're watching. They're like, oh, the offense line's terrible. It's not. It's not good. It's not terrible. There's no way it's terrible. Last year was terrible. Trust me. If you've been watching, we broke down how horrific the offensive line was last year. It was not nearly as bad this year. Darnold throw 3rd and 5. I'm assuming this is good. Yeah. Okay. So Seahawks are clearly showing pressure, but it's a simulated one. Or not really. It's not even simulated. Sometimes you call it like a creeper pressure. If they're only bringing like 4 guys, but they're coming from irregular places, like if you have like a corner coming and a D tackle dropping back, people refer to those as creeper blitzes. When they're only sending 4, they just press it on a scrimmage, and you have the 2 guys who are sugaring the A gap drop back into coverage, and the 2 guys on the edge drop back into coverage. So they're showing pressure, but they drop back into coverage. You have one guy come clean off the edge right here. He's not accounted for. Darnold recognizes that. This is going to be his hot because this guy is not in man coverage on him. So especially with these guys carrying, you have Barrios matched up against a linebacker. Darnold recognizes that. Throws the ball before Barrios is breaking because a guy in his face fades backwards, hits him a little bit behind him, but still good job. Good job just knowing your reads, seeing the pressure, knowing he's going to have space to Barrios. These guys, most likely this linebacker carrying or DB carrying, know he's going to have room on this out and is going to hit him before he breaks. So good job by Darnold. Good pre-snap to post-snap recognition right there. I will be fair. I always be fair if a guy has a good throw. I'm not just going to shit on Darnold. That'd be stupid. Darnold, good throw. Again, I thought he started off the game pretty good. Minus that obviously terrible interception, which takes all these plays and pretty much flushes them down the drain. You want to have a quarterback have really, really good plays and then some average plays with a bad play sprinkled in every once in a while, but Darnold has them way too frequently. Drops back. He sees it's man coverage. He's going to trust Crowder to beat Griffin to the front pylon. Throws it, puts it in a good spot. Like, listen, it doesn't connect because Griffin plays it pretty well where he plays over and doesn't like to let the rub affect him. Now, maybe you'd like to see Herndon cut this a little bit higher, especially knowing that he's probably going to listen. If anything, for the pickers, you want to cut it a little bit high because for them to cut underneath, then they're gonna be stacked by the wide receiver. But if you go too low, they're gonna play over the top. You don't want them to play over the top. If anything, force them underneath of you. So Griffin plays this too shallow. Herndon plays that too shallow, in my opinion. He just lets him go right over top of him. So not a good job by him. He wasn't really trying to pick him. Like he was almost avoiding him. So not the best pick rub from him. Darnold trusts him, puts it in a good spot. Like, listen, he put it in a spot where only Crowder was going to catch it. And he wasn't able to make the catch. But even though this wasn't completed ball, I like the velocity in the ball. I like the area of the ball. Would have been a really tough catch, but it wasn't a proper rub by Herndon right there. Way too shallow. And he trusts Crowder. That's a throw you make in the NFL. That's a good throw. It just didn't connect. That's fine. Moving on. I got 5 more plays of him. Darnold stare down, underthrow, Griffin, PI. Oh, okay, yeah. You have Perryman up top, who, again, stems outside, hop step that he uses so frequently. Right there at that foot, or just throws off the timing. Gets to the outside in a hurry. Again, just speed. If you're not going to get hands on Perryman, which I should actually, hold on, let me edit my thing real quick. Perryman, that's play. This is, what is this? This is how I usually do my stuff. 24 of this game, so 14-24. 14-24. Edit my notes. I put that in a Perryman review because it's actually a good route. Again, stem outside, hop step, take the outside that Griffin gave him. And look, in the NFL, again, this is open, completely open. Now, Darnold needs to put more velocity on this to the front corner of the pylon. He floats it a little bit too much, in my opinion. I want to see him laser that in there a little bit more, because you see how Perryman has to slow down for it. You don't want guys to have to slow down, especially if a safety breaking to it. Obviously, if the guy is stacked or they're hip to hip, and he doesn't have room to run vertical, you put it back shoulder so he could take advantage of the space at the sideline. But when he's going to win deep like this, you definitely, especially with the safety coming, you want to put it on a line a little bit more. He floats it a little bit too much. And again, you have Perryman who has to gear down for it. And then you have, again, another pretty obvious pass interference call that is not called. Offensive line does a good job. Good. Again, Becton, his hands, they land high. And I know he's taller, so it's going to be a little bit harder for him. But his hands do have a tendency to land, neck to the face mask area, which, again, you have less control of. We spoke about why, so I'm not going to rehash all of that right now. But overall, again, really clean pocket, right? That's a hell of a pocket. Throws the ball. Again, the footwork is not good. You can see that this foot is pointing more towards the sideline. His hallway is pointed here. His shoulders are pointed to. His body's not in a line at all. You want his body to be in a line. Pointed forward, pointed to the sideline, and pointed diagonally. This is terrible mechanics. A little bit of a wind up too. So he still releases the ball pretty quickly. And I'll show it from the other view. Again, good hop step by Perryman. Gets outside. This is beat in the NFL. He beat him. If the ball is on a rope and leading him, he doesn't have to gear down. As long as he doesn't drop it, it's a touchdown. And you have Griffin, who, again, does not look back at the ball and literally just jumps into Perryman and wraps him up and does not allow his hands to go up. But this is not a pass interference. That's not a pass interference. I don't know how. That's absolutely brutal. One defensive pass interference that's not called on the Seahawks, and another defensive pass interference that's not called on the Seahawks. And then I recorded this because I absolutely hate this shit. When you just committed a PI, when you're just burned deep, and you have defensive backs celebrating, that is one of my worst. If I was a coach, I'd be like, yo, you were just beat here. Seriously, you're DB coach, like, yo, you just got roasted. And you clearly committed a PI and you're dancing. Act like a professional. I do not like it. And I'm going to go over some Jets who did this shit later in the game too. Even more embarrassing because you're getting blown out. Oh my God. Nothing bothers me more. But how this is not a PI, in what world, I do not know. With the ref standing right there. Brutal, no PI. And I want the Jets to lose, but that stuff's just frustrating to watch how much how inconsistent the refs are in the NFL is mind-boggling, absolutely mind-boggling. And then we'll show a couple later too. The Jets got called on them, but none even close as bad as two I showed in the last couple of minutes. Darnold, terrible throw back then. Okay. Again, so. If Crowder on the slant, stems outside, gets his guy to not even really necessarily open up his hips, but his guy starts getting into a back pedal and he gives him room to break inside. Not really the best DB play right here at that point. Breaks inside, but the DB does a good job staying high, playing to the near shoulder, cutting it off, or matching it at least. And you have the DB who is literally blanketing this slant. Is high and blanking. It's not like he's having to make up ground to Crowder here. even though I don't like him backpedaling, he did stay square, and he took a good angle to the slant. Darnold sees this. This is what he sees. This guy he's getting mugged, and it's not. Listen, now if this is a throw to Denzel Mims, if this is a throw even to Perryman, where you could lead him, they could box him out a little bit, use their size. I get it more. But when you have a 5'9" slot receiver, and you have a guy getting mugged, and you're trying to force it to him, which at this point Crowder does not think there's any chance that Darnold's going to throw it. He's going to try to cut it vertical to try to adjust his route, but Darnold throws it after the guy's getting mugged and a dropped pick. That's easily 2 picks that should have been in this game. Again, reads left, reads right, is looking at it the entire time, looking at it. Sees, again, this a little bit earlier. I don't know if my screen is in your guys' way right there. I don't know if only I see that or not. I moved it regardless. But again, sees this with the DB looking back at him and throws the ball. And not only does he tries to fit in a window, but this is terrible. You cannot throw that ball, man. Listen, I get that, him going to a new coach and all this stuff can help him out, but I don't know how much. I don't know how much new coach is going to do that. He's another version of Jameis Winston. He really is. He has a natural ability. He can make some beautiful throws into beautiful windows, but then he just has mental lapses you can just not have as an NFL quarterback. The footwork, some mechanics, that's rare to fix that. I rarely see guys who have bad footwork in the NFL have good technique in the NFL, but kind of turn. I don't see guys turn that around a lot. I've rarely seen that happen. Darnold no shot 3rd and 7. Okay, this is one of the scenarios where I say that he doesn't have help, and this is again a situation where the Seahawks have mostly been blitzing. They send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys versus your 6 blockers. Or sorry, is that 7 blockers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you have 7 blockers, but you still send 7 guys. Cover 1. You want to get the ball out quick. What is especially Gase, who knows Darnold has a problem when he starts getting blitzed and starts like dropping his head. Especially recently, taking sacks, things like that. And these are the route concepts you run: a deep comeback, a 7 route, and another 7 route. 3 deep routes, 7-step drop type routes on 3rd and 7 with nothing breaking across the middle. Nothing. Terrible route concept for man coverage, especially for a blitz. And Darnold can't throw any one of these passes. There's nothing to throw right here. Like, what is he going to throw? He's not getting out of his break yet. He could have thrown this if he had another second, but guess what? It's a blitz. Get sacked. Again, these are plays that's not Darnold's fault. This sack is not Darnold's fault. It's a large part of Elflein's problem, where again he retreats too much and he allows guys to penetrate way too much. Like he doesn't stand guys out and string them out and assist on stunts and loops. He lets guys get way too deep before he picks them up. So it gets too deep. Becton's not able to really get in front of it. He overcommits to it. He doesn't stay square. Now this guy's going to loop inside and get right to Darnold. It's a combination of these 2 guys. Terrible stunt pickup by Elflein. And it is so funny. And it's what I talk about all the time. You see one bigger guy tweet out a couple of good plays of Elflein in the blocking game, and then every single person in Jetsland is talking about, Elflein might be back as a starter next year. Not realizing that in that same game, he had a couple of good run blocks. He was also absolutely dreadful in pass protection. So that's exactly what we want for a new quarterback, a guy who got cut from a team with not the best offensive line, who is highly I don't know what the word is, flammable type player, where he's like, okay, a good few plays in run game, and then will absolutely blow a few plays in run game. He's one of those players who can make 5 good blocks in a game and have them be highlight blocks, but then the other 35 blocks in that game are dreadful. So, no, absolutely not. Elflein is not blocking for Trevor Lawrence. No way. Or Justin Fields. Let's be honest. It's been one of those two guys at this point. It's not Darnold. Maybe you can make an argument for Zach Wilson, but no, absolutely not. He's terrible. 35. I'd rather have Lewis than Elflein. Darnold miss. Only got 2 more plays of Darnold. Play action. It's not really sold again. Not sold really at all. Again, so he's trying to anticipate this window. You have the crease concept right here, which is an inverted dig. I mean, an inverted Mills concept, where typically in Mills you have the inside run a dig and the outside run a post. The crease is opposite of that. They both kind of do the same thing, where they're carrying the middle of the field safety and then isolating the backs, the deep third defender, who's going to play the outside leverage. Again, now you're giving the advantage on the dig. So crease concept, and he's trying to throw the ball over the linebacker, but with a clean pocket. Either throw it where it's supposed to be, or take an extra hitch and throw it to the receiver. But he puts it way too far inside right here, because this is a ball you can throw, but you got to trust your receiver, and you just got to wait for the window to come. And he tries to throw the ball actually too early right here, and if not too early, then he has to put it in the correct spot. Again, play action. It's not as bad as a sell as we ever seen, but it's not a good sell. Good job by Fant. Hands on. Becton, good job. Everybody does a good job right here. Again, really clean pocket. And again, the feet again. His foot is driving more to the left straight in front of him, with his foot pointed the other way. His feet are god awful. What that does too is it locks your hips. You're not allowing your body to fully step through your throw. Your hips can't rotate fully unless you're like triple jointed. You can't rotate fully over it. Now it's becoming more of an arm throw. You tend to miss when it's more arm. You want it to be obviously full body throw. The ball is way too far inside. Clearly, missed throw. So either wait for him to clear this linebacker, or put it more inside. Or put it more on him. One more play of Darnold. It's Darnold skip open. Yeah.
To watch the rest of this video, click the article link in the description and become a subscriber for free today.